Ghomeshi's acquittal sent an uproar on social media. The former CBC host was found not guilty of charges of sexual assault and choking. Shortly after, people all over turned to their screens and started posting their opinions. Many criticized the way the court handled the testimonies of the female victims. I believe survivors and we believe survivors were two hashtags that became popular on Facebook and Twitter.
Initially, I'm kind of disappointed, actually. I think we need to move away from the assumption that we need to doubt the victim and start doubting the person that's actually being accused of it, rather than spending all the time in the trial trying to disprove what the victim saying happened to them. I think it's ridiculous that he was acquitted.
They're focusing too much on disproving the victims, and they need to focus more on their story.
Well, I wasn't surprised on the reaction of the victims because it's not their fault. They're stressed. It's well, if that would happen to you, how would you react, right?
St. Thomas University criminology professor Jean Savageau says due to the circumstances of the case, like the inconsistencies in the victims' testimonies, the judge's decision is something we have to live with.
You have to assess if they don't tell me the truth here and something that happened after having to do with this, how can I believe what they tell me about the act itself? And it may or may not have happened. He has to assess the truthfulness that he can trust into the witnesses and the victims in this case, and base his decisions on that, and that's what happens.
But the verdict isn't something people want to live with. Protests broke out across the country. People lined the streets and held signs to show their support of the victims.
We believe survivors! We believe survivors! We believe survivors!
And some St. Thomas University students backed them up.
Could be scared that if they are let out, whatever, they can go back at them. There's so many different circumstances that fear them. They're threatened.
And if there are some inconsistencies, if there's multiple stories, then you have to believe there's some degree of truth to it.
Getting the public involved is always a good thing because it usually helps move the trial, not necessarily the trial, but it helps promote knowledge on the subject matter, I suppose.
The system isn't broken!
Savageau says public reaction to decisions like this can spark a change in the system.
It was built this way!
Well, like a number of other decisions in the past few years, it does lead to some reassessment of what is it that we do in the justice system. What can we expect from a justice system? I mean, you may wish for all kinds of different things. People are people, and we have our limits in what we can do and reconstruct things and present evidence and to present them in a credible manner which will stand the test of the justice system.
Ghomeshi will face a second trial in June. Though the verdict can be in favor of either side, many hope to see it handled differently than the first. For St. Thomas Journalism, I'm Jordan Mead Baxter.